All right, guys. So I quickly wanted to come on here and show one of our Snapchat ad accounts. We have quite a bit we were running and are running, but I only feel comfortable showing a couple of them. I think whenever you get into the whole revenue flexing era of drop shipping, where you make 10 grand a day and post it, and you're gonna get a lot of people that just have negative energy that want to kind of replicate what you're doing or get envious. So my recommendation is whenever you make money, always have a bit of a time delay and never just want to flex and want to get greedy and want to boost up your ego and just post the results. Always have a bit of a time delay. Finalize your brand, finalize everything that's happened, and then show the results. So, anyways, I wanted to show off what exactly is going on in the ad account stats wise before I kind of go over the intricacies with Snapchat, budgets, high budgets, low budgets, duplication, the differences with Facebook, etc. So, the very first thing is this, okay? You can see here in 2 months we spent $90,000, reached about 9 million people. We had about 200,000 people go to our website at 2% CTR. You can also see here CPM on the two biggest campaigns was $10. Our CPC is 30 to about 45 cents. You can see our frequency was under 2x. We had well over a million played views on our creatives, basically to 75% and over. We obviously had a 2 to 3% click-through rate like I discussed. And last but not least, with the purchases in CPP, it might look a little bit confusing, but we used a very specific tactic I can explain later, but it's really advanced. But long story short, multiply the CPP by 3 and divide the purchases by 3 and you'll get the actual real result. In reality, we had about 9,000 purchases and our CPP was about $9, excluding the bottom campaign, which was retargeting. So the first things first, with Snapchat, I learned a lot from one of my business partners, and my business partner was very skilled with Snapchat. He's probably one of the best media buyers in the world when it comes to Snapchat ads. He spent pretty much 8 figures on Snapchat, like very close to it. And with our brands, he spent over 7. So I picked up a lot of things because I come from a Facebook oriented background, a lot of DRM, a lot of manual bidding, a lot of just like these really wild tactics I used to employ when I was younger. And what I picked up from him, though, was very interesting because he kind of redefined how I look at runways. And what I mean by that is with Facebook and Google and some other ad platforms, even TikTok, you're given a lot more methods to scale, right? You're given duplication, you're given auto bid, you're given manual bid, you're given this tactic, lookalikes, you're given this, custom audiences, you're given, you can do all this crazy stuff. With Snapchat, you're given a lot smaller of an arsenal, but you really have to master it. I wouldn't even recommend duplicating like crazy on Snapchat. It doesn't work. You have to master bidding. And bidding is a whole different video, which I would have to talk about for at least an hour to even explain what a bidding system is, how auctions work, and then how to actually do it correctly and cost caps and bid caps. Bidding is a very complicated procedure. To really master manual bidding on any ad platform, you need to be one of the best data analysis around. You have to be very good at analyzing the numbers, otherwise you will lose money. It's very, very important to do that. So with Snapchat, when I go into the actual ad sets, you can see here in this campaign, we have a lot higher budgets. We have, $10,000, 2,999, 555, and you might be a bit confused. Like, why is it $500 budget, but we spent 30 grand? We were fluctuating the budget a lot throughout the time frame that we were running the ads. We were messing around with all the stats on here. Nothing you see here is final. The bids, the budgets, they were all being fluctuated and messed around with pretty much on a daily basis. So it kind of became a very lucrative task where we're almost babysitting the ad account to get the desired results. So the most important thing is with Snapchat, you really have to master bidding. But Facebook's not really geared towards like a lot of drastic big changes. They're more geared towards consistency. They have a very strong bias towards keeping things stable, keeping things consistent. But Snapchat doesn't have that limitation on the platform. With Facebook, you're also going to have a very high flunk rate at about 60% when you duplicate. Snapchat's even higher. You're looking at like 80-90% of the ads that you can duplicate will fail. So there's no point pursuing that endeavor. However, whenever you're volatilely increasing the budgets, that can't work out in your favor. So what's important as well to understand is when you look at the spend here on our ad account, you can see on this day we spent 7 grand plus. And we're running a bit of TikTok ads too. We actually did almost $30,000 in sales that day. Next day, we cut the spend by over 60%, 50, 60%. And next day, it goes down more, goes down by over 2/3, and then it's 0. And then we fire it back up, right? Snapchat's very volatile, and same with TikTok. That's why I prefer Facebook, because you're going to have a lot more consistency. With Snapchat, you have to play day by day. It depends on how your campaigns are performing that day. There's so many factors that kind of go into Snapchat performance overall. So another thing I've learned with Snapchat is you really can't launch the ads later in the day. With Facebook, you can tinker with this, right? You can schedule out your ads, right? You can launch them with time blocking. You can kind of launch them at 4 p.m., 5 p.m., kind of risk it if the ads are doing really good that day. And Facebook will typically do their best to optimize. With Snapchat, they'll burn your money straight up. Even with Facebook, a lot of these advertising platforms, they're designed to maximize and optimize your conversions. But the moment you introduce a lot of spend into a short period of time, their goal, the platform's goal changes to spending that money rather than getting you your desired result. Okay. So be very careful launching later on in the day. It's super important. And last but not least with Snapchat. Okay. You guys have to understand that it's a lot more creative oriented, obviously, because again, with Snapchat, you don't have AI, you don't have DCOs, ACOs, you don't have a lot of these options as complex as Facebook or TikTok and even Google. So you can't employ like a crazy amount of split testing. It's good to do so, but one of the best things you can do is really improve your conversion rate. So what we really emphasized on was really high quality images. You don't want to just slap a bunch of nonsense together and serve it up to your customers like a shit sandwich. You really want to optimize your conversion rate. So good images, you want to have a really good description. You want to have really, really good copywriting frameworks. That's super important. You want to have a really good process, right? So the way you take your customers through the journey in terms of understanding their LTV, understanding their upsell value, understanding their AOV, make sure that your checkout trust badges are even good. Make sure all these things are dialed in before you just start upping your budget. And another thing as well is people think that with drop shipping, like back in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and even 2020, it was a very different game than it is now in 2021 to 2024 and beyond. It's a very different game. The way you have to treat it is you have to evolve with the game. People go drop shipping is dead. It's not dead, right? All that's happened, like any business in the world, it's changed, right? The fundamentals are always going to be the same, but the game has changed, right? The rules of the game have slightly changed. You have to adapt with that. Snapchat is great, but don't just see this video and get this really weird gut feeling like you're missing out and you have to hop on this. This is a secondary platform, right? Always keep Google and Facebook as your primaries. Use Snapchat, Pinterest, and TikTok as your secondaries. That's something I'm always going to advocate for. I don't recommend you go and try to just run on one platform, especially like Snapchat, because look at our spend. It's all over the place, and that's normal. On Facebook, you're more inclined to have consistent spend. They have a more reliable, experienced, older user base with more data. They're able to more reliably spend your money properly with their auctioning system. So rely more on the bigger platforms and use these, and then you can get into crazy stuff like Taboola and advertorials. So that's what I wanted to cover today, how you can essentially utilize Snapchat as a secondary tool to achieve the results that you want to get with e-commerce. And that's kind of my goal here, right? I want to give you guys a huge arsenal of tools that you can utilize in your own journey to succeed. So if you like the video, feel free to subscribe. You don't have to. And if you are interested in working with me one-on-one, there's a link in the description below. You can book a call. There's going to be a bit of a form you got to fill out. With that out of the way, I'm going to head out for the night. Peace.
You wouldn't have made it for the next 20 seconds there alive.
I guess we'll never know now, will we?
You told Dr. Frame that you would wipe out his whole cell.
For starters.